Hello everyone, Littlesmith here. Another file reading. This is of Resident Evil 5. I'm not going to read the library files. I'm just going to do the main storyline, game storyline files. This one was set in 2009 in Africa, starring Chris Redfield and Clever Alama. It's basically a terrorist organisation buying and selling viruses after Umbrella's downfall, because this is set like 10 years after Raccoon City's destruction. But obviously there's people selling the virus on the black market, and this is one of the areas. And there's a new virus called the Ouroboros virus, and yeah, let's have a look at this at these files. So, in-game files, control types. The following 4 control types can be selected under control settings in the options menu. Type A, use the L stick to move and rotate, and use RT and X to fire. I think this is obviously this is Xbox controls, but obviously this is on like every console known to man nowadays. Type B, use the L stick to move and rotate, use the LT and RT to fire. Type C, use the L stick to strafe and the R stick to rotate, and use the RT and X to fire. D, use the L stick to strafe and the R stick to rotate, and use the LT. Yeah, you kind of get the idea. I always gone with type A for that one. And that was in, oh yeah, this is another chaptered game. Chapter 1-1, Kangugu, on the kitchen bench on the north side of the butcher's shop, where you meet Reynard Fisher. So that's his name. That's the thing, his name wasn't mentioned in the game. I don't think his name was mentioned, but apparently his name is Reynard. Okay, that's interesting. Dying. When your life gauge is fully depleted due to taking damage, your status will change to dying. If this status is displayed for your partner, for your partner, you can revive him or her by pressing the B button when nearby. You cannot revive yourself in this status. The game will end if your partner is unable to assist you before the time runs out, or if both you and your partner are in the dying state at the same time. So in other words, yes, you can deplete all your health in this game, but you do get a chance, but you get really slow and sluggish, and the screen starts to go red and shit. But you make sure your partner's with you, because they should automatically get you out of the dying state so you can like heal up. But the AI in this game is a bit shit for partner helping you. And that's in the same chapter on the kitchen bench in the butcher shop. Yeah, this is basically, these are two together. The writing is erratic. All outsiders will receive the blade of punishment. We will bless them with a sacred death. We will release them from their bonds of wickedness. That was in the same chapter. Back alley, in the room with the sacred goat on the central table. It is on the counter on the west side of the room. Item menu. When the item menu is displayed, press RB to confirm what items your partner has. You can ask your partner for an item by highlighting it and pressing A. If you select give for one of your items, you can pass it on to your partner. Press X to grab the item so you can move it where you want it to be in your item menu. Assigning items is to up, down, left to right will allow you to quickly switch to those using the D-pad without opening the menu. So it's basically quick select as well. Now it's in chapter 2-1, storage facility, on the stacks next to the warehouse exit door on the southwest corner. Directions for your partner. There's a lot of tutorial files in the first two chapters. Press B to call your partner. While holding B, press up or down on the gamepad to choose a list of commands. Attack. Your partner will go on the offense. cover, your partner assumes a supporting role. So in other words, if you hold down the B button, or was it circle or square, and you press down, it's basically cover, come back, or up means attack, shoot. And that was in chapter 2.1, storage facility on the stacks. Yeah, it's basically in the same sort of area. And BSAA emblems. There are BSAA emblems located throughout every stage. The more BSAA emblems you destroy, the more items you can purchase from in the bonus features. So this doesn't really like unlock any in-game stuff. It just unlocks like bonus features in the shop bit. And that was in the same chapter, storage facility, and it's near the Jeep. It looks like a message. Las Plagas, possible mutation in the body. Low probability, but evidence is compelling. Possible sales point. Weak against bright light. Address problem immediately. And that was in chapter 2.2. Mining area on the table in the middle of the room of the building overlooking the mining complex. Type 2 Plagas. Here we go. Oh Jesus Christ, this is long. As stated in earlier documentation on the subject, the original Las Plagas parasite was discovered in an isolated area in Europe. Upon maturing of the host, the parasite quickly replaces the host's will and self-awareness, rendering them as highly susceptible to control by another. It was this aspect of Las Plagas what meant one to so inclined could create observant subjects who would obey directions or directives without question. It's obvious commercial. It's a oblivious commercial application possibilities. Las Plagas quickly came under review by interested parties. So yeah, in other words, Las Plagas was being sold by terrorists. The problem with commercializing Las Plagas was the time disparity between initial infection and when the hosts were rendered susceptible to control. The time between when Las Plagas is administered to the host as an egg and the time when it fully matures and attaches itself to the control nervous system was met with negative criticism. The maturation cycle of the Las Plagas is relatively brief, but potential customers wishing for more expedient results. With this in mind, research was undertaken to improve Las Plagas, the final result of this research becoming Las Plagas Type 2. Type 2 Las Plagas differs from its predecessor in that it is administered in its mature state, and from that point the host can almost immediately be controlled. Type 2 is administered orally, or more susceptible that, or is forced into the mouth of the host. It is a incentive method, but it's the most effective. That's things like in the Resident Evil 4, it was just a parasite that was just injected into the body. This one is basically a mature parasite, so obviously you can't inject it, you just have to force people to eat it, to like swallow it, and then it will attach like immediately. After all administration, Type 2 rents the esophagus and moves first to the medulla oblongata, and then to the brain proper, and then finally the spinal cord. Once it has taken hold of the central nervous system, the host can be controlled. So yeah, like I said, it's like a lot quicker. It doesn't take hours; it takes minutes. Under a laboratory setting, we recorded complete control of a host within 10 seconds. Oh, 10 seconds, Jesus Christ. Of administration of type 2. Aside from the reduced infection time, the type 2 plagas appeared to share all of the characteristics of the original Las Plagas, which made it more than suitable for commercialization. All that remains now is to stimulate field data from the Kigugu autonomous zone. Listed below are the 3 key elements for elevation of type 2. Infection. Administer type 2 samples to 10 previously infected individuals and observe the rate of which they spread the infection. These 10 test subjects must be given enough type 2 samples to create measurable results. Control. Observe to what extent the barbaric behavior induced by the plagas can be controlled. This will assented by witnessing the results of the directive to engage the BSAA operatives within the area. Fighting. Accumulate data on type 2 in combat. Type 2 hosts will battle BSAA operatives deployed in the area. This experiment will be the last stage for evaluating the effectiveness of type 2 plagas. And that was in chapter 2.2, train station on the table in the middle of the room when you start the game. So that's very interesting, like a bit of lore to know about the type 2 plagas, because this one is a much more violent type, much more ferocious as well. Schedule report. The corpse of the BSAA agent, such a tragedy. His PDA as an unsent message. From the evidence gathered thus far, it would appear that most of the Delta team was wiped out between the time they requested backup and the time that they reached the area. One of their beacons was still transmitting an active signal, so we moved to intercept due to the possibility of survivors. While en route, the beacon's transmission ceased. Judging by the last transmission of the beacon, should be just ahead on our current position. There is a sealed door currently blocking the route, so infiltration will prove difficult. End report. That was in chapter 3.1. On the body of the dead BSAA soldier in the clearing of the South Dock. Hand-to-hand combat. Okay, this is another tutorial file. Shooting will give you an opening to get close enough to fight it directly. Not only do physical attacks help you conserve ammo, they also deal some serious damage. When you shoot an enemy, arm, leg, head, etc., will determine what type of attack you can unleash. You can start with a hook or twist kick for Sheva and chain other attacks too. You can alternate between attacks and chain up to 3 of them in a row. That's in chapter 3.1 in the marshlands on the East Dock. That's things like when you incapacitate an enemy, like as long as your partner's close, you can throw an attack and then she can, and then you can do a third, and that should kill him. It is actually a really good combo. It's like excellent combo. Village Youth's Diary. God, another one. Yeah, this is notorious for like long files. April 5th. A man who said he was a foreman of the oil plant came to visit us today. He said he wants to inoculate anyone living near the oil fields against some kind of disease. My parents' generation they tricked our people and stole the land to turn it into their oil field. They must feel so guilty about it because they were always trying to help the village now. Yeah, they wasn't guilty. They wasn't feeling guilty at all. When we couldn't get across the swamp, they built a gondola on a rope for us. Sometimes they'll even give us alcohol from foreign countries. This medicine is probably something like that. Everyone in our village is glad to receive this medication or this medicine, but I don't want it. I don't want to. I don't want a reason for not getting it. I don't have a reason for not getting it. I just don't like the way the foreman looks. That's all. April 8th. Everyone went to the oil fields to get this inoculation. The village is usually never this quiet. The only thing to do today is sleep. April 9th. I slept so much during the day, so I couldn't sleep at night, and it was noisy outside. Everyone was talking with serious voices in the middle of the village. All of the children in the village has come down with a fever. They shouldn't have took that inoculation in. The mothers all drew water to cool their bodies, but it didn't help. By the next morning they were all dead. Was they given the COVID vaccine? I'm pretty sure that was it. That did it. In the morning, our leader went to the oil field. He wanted to know if the medicine they were given killed the children. When he came back to the village, he said that all the children died because they had the disease. He told everyone that they needed to go back for more shots. I didn't want to, but everyone in the village was worried about catching the disease. They forced me to go with them to get the shots. That's exactly what they did with COVID. They basically forced everyone to get the COVID vaccine, and it just made things worse. It made people feel more rougher. April 10th. People were fighting in the village. All the men were angry. It might be because of when the children died, but I think it is something else. The women just sit around and they don't move. I wonder if the disease is spreading. April 11th. I couldn't sit still today. I felt something was moving around inside me. Outside, I saw a man that looked strange. He was naked and he had a weapon. His entire body was covered in war paint. It wasn't even festival day. I tried to talk to him, but when he turned around I saw his face. He didn't even look human. What is happening to the people of my village? April 12th. The screaming has not stopped since yesterday. All the men were dressing up like our ancestors and fighting each other. Most of the women has died. April 13th. My head hurts. Fever. Feeling angry. I saw a big man outside the window, very tall. He must be Vision. 14th of April. Feels good. Scream stop. Looks fun. Want to kill. That is tragic. That is another really tragic file. I think this is like a kid or a teenager, one of the two. And that was in the Martians chapter. Village on the bench on the top floor of the main hut across the village. Yeah. Rough. Type 3 Plagas field test. Oh my god, it keeps going. 1 week has passed since the initial field test of Type 3 Plagas. Type 3 was designed to display dramatically enhanced physical abilities over previous versions. The original Las Plagas has a special plaga known as the Control Plaga that would provide a host with enhanced physical abilities. These control types were limited in number as they always cause severe physical changes in the host, and thus it was not always excellent to use them. From a business standpoint, this was undesirable. The idea to create super soldiers without any side effects, something consumers wanted. Other teams are currently working on developing a similar product to Las Plagas for commercial use, but given the affinity Las Plagas has for human hosts, it seems adventurous to continue and develop it. Other methods may produce superior super soldiers, but if they do not render the host completely controllable, their effectiveness would be limited. Taking subordinate plaga, the base Las Plaga, and implanting a gene from the control plaga created a new type of plagger, the Type 3. It is believed that the Type 3 can be perfected. It will become the new standard on the bioweapons market. But that day is still in the offing. During a recent field test, a number of issues came to the fore. The chief problem is an ineffectual adhesion rate, and in adult and adolescent males, the adherence rate is approximately 92%. The same for normal loss plagger. For women and young children, Type 3 has 0% adhesion rate. That's probably why you don't see any children enemies. You do women, but it's not really common in the game. With these disappointing results, it's obvious that in its current state, Type 3 would not render a adequate product. In addition, superficial mutations are invariably fatal. This is thought to be due to the dramatic influence of the control plagger gene. The test, however, was not without some favourable results. Our goal is to realise dramatic physical enhancements were somewhat realised. The jumping power of the host has shown remarkable improvement. Another point, one that we haven't predicted, size increase of the host, with some reaching a height of almost 3 meters. This would be due to a gene from the control plagger, but it is within acceptable parameters. With this field test, we did not achieve all of our initial desired results, but the test was not a complete failure. It may be possible to use the information garnered from the current test and use them to make improvements for future tests. That was in 3.2, Execution Ground, on the bed inside the Tricell tents. That again, really good like Plagueis lore, to be fair. Scary, but it's actually like really interesting. Administrator's log. The pumps were probably integrating the progenitor flowers, but they require a lot of maintenance. Umbrella installed these pumps over 30 years ago. It's a wonder that they still work. The tank that filters the water is barely holding up. We need to replace these pumps as soon as possible. In a lucky turn, I found a log of Umbrella's construction supervisor. It said the pump system here was designed by a company called Fabino. I think we use Fabino pumps in our natural resource development division. I have talked to Mr. Irving, the foreman of this plant, to see if we can get some newer pumps from him. So yeah, that was it. That was the guy that went into that village to inject to them people. So it was Ricardo Irving. And chapter 5.1. Yeah, we're going a bit out of focus with this. This isn't like one after the other. This is all over the place. Underground garden. On a stack of crates near the entrance to the passage leading to the main facility at the start of the chapter. That was that one, wasn't it? Yes. Construction supervisor's log. So we finally kicked the Nebada from the ruins they were squatting in. I have heard it was just to get to this flower field. But that's the least of my concerns right now. One thing I do know is that construction here has been a colossal headache. Trying to build something among these ruins is almost impossible to begin with. And just to get started, we had to change the groundwater channels. that meant that the flower bed wasn't getting irrigated properly, and now the flowers are dying. And on top of all that, I have the head researcher Brandon breathing down my neck. He says that he wants the facilities to be here at least 3 times bigger than originally planned. So after that got approved, that they fired the supervisor before me, Peter. Not sure why though. Maybe he looked at them wrong or something. If I let these flowers die, the same thing will happen to me. I can't help but sympathise with poor Petey. But working with these science types is a real pain in the arse. I hope we find new water sources soon. Our survey showed that there might be some groundwater 500 metres or so down. That's pretty deep, so we'll probably have to use that new pump system the Fabino company makes. Hopefully that'll work. But with how everything went so far, I'm sure something will go wrong. The only problem is that I have no idea when I'll be getting these new pumps. Even the best case scenario, there'll be no way to get these pumps here and set up before the year is out. It looks like we'll have to use the old-fashioned manpower to fetch water for those flowers so they don't die. It looks like I'm going to be spending the last Christmas of the 60s away from my family, in a dark cave, playing gardener for some flowers. Ain't life for bitch. So that was the 60s. This file was written in the 60s. That's in the same chapter 5.1. Underground garden on a stack of crates. Yeah, that's where the progenitor flowers are. Basically, them flowers were the base of the mother virus, like back in the 60s. Like seriously. Invoice copy. Umbrella Training Facility, Dr. Marcus, Case 5, 5, Cases of the Progenitor Sample, December 15th, 1977, Africa Research Centre Director, Brandon Bailey. That's in the same one. Progenitor Virus Facility, on the shelves in the corridor after you enter after exiting the underground garden area. See, all these are like really old-fashioned. It like gives really interesting lore on the beginnings of the virus. From Chief Researcher Brandon Journal 1, 1966. Okay, now December 4th. Mr. Spencer once spoke of a flower called the Stairway to the Sun. Supposedly, this flower would give the person who consumed it an incredible abilities. Although it is nothing more than a rumour or legend that Mr. Spencer was telling us, but later research would prove us wrong. The first person to recognise the validity of that story was my teacher, Dr. James Marcus. He hypothesized that a virus, hitherto unknown, might exist and could alter DNA. That man was so perspicacious. His hypothesis turned out to be correct. The virus discovered in that flower was labelled the progenitor. For 3 months in Africa, we worked diligently, fretting over results. We staved off attacks from the Nepeta tribe. After such time, our efforts were finally rewarded. So even that tribe has been there for like years, since the very beginning, and they essentially stole their land for their research. Come on now. Even Dr. Marcus, who until yesterday looked exhausted, he was in good spirits. He wants to return home as soon as possible to delve deeper into his research. I feel the same way. I want to learn about the secrets of this progenitor virus as soon as possible. 1967, February 12th. We hit a brick wall. We brought the progenitor flower back from Africa and have attempted to cultivate it here. The initial culture samples of the progenitor virus has not shown DNA altering characteristics. we cultivated the flower to mass produce the progenitor virus. At first everything proceeded smoothly, the plants were strong and quickly grew. In a short amount of time they flowered. But here is when a major problem surfaced. The flowers did not contain the progenitor virus. Perhaps the environment in which they have grown triggers the development of the virus. This matter must be investigated further. March 23rd. We have made no progress. We tried cultivating the flower under different conditions, but with no luck in triggering the development of the virus itself. Thus far, we have tried changing the soil, water temperature, and light exposure, with all to no success. I got into a heated debate with Dr. Marcus about the direction of this research was taken. During the debate, Mr. Spencer interjected some foolhardily notion of starting a company. Without the progenitor virus, there will be no way in starting a company. Does he not see that? It is all pointless. That was in chapter 5.1, Underground Garden, inside the passageway leading to the main facility. Tricell Researcher Miguel Journal number 1. Got a lot of journals now. A lot of long journals. February 19th. When I heard that the laboratory used my umbrella in Africa, my expectations were raised, to say the least. But when I saw it, the lab in name only. I don't know how umbrella ever used it. The Lord knows how Tricell could possibly have any use for it. The place was abandoned long ago, so there's nothing here of any value for us. Not one piece of lab equipment remains. At least nothing that still works. I can't say I'm surprised because I half expected this. Anyway, the important thing is the progenitor virus. If we didn't need that virus for our research, then there would be no need to come to this run-down umbrella facility anyway. We already have samples of the T virus, the G virus, and T Veronica virus, and even the Plaga parasite. See, it's like all them viruses, basically, all samples of them viruses got smuggled out and used to make like these other viruses. So that's how it works. We have everything we need for our research. We just didn't have that damn progenitor virus. But finally we got our hands on it. Hopefully this will give us that much needed breakthrough in our research. I can't wait to start working on it. March the 7th. I wonder who come up with the name Licker for those creatures. I mean, when you see that long tongue, you just know it's a perfect name. But for the researchers like me, BOWs like lickers are just a pain in the arse. If I said lickers are too perfect, I'd probably be going too far from my praise. But they are pretty much a evolutionary dead end. There is no room for improvement. BOWs that were created using the T virus don't seem to show much improvement when the progenitor virus is administered. I mean, their abilities show some slight improvements. For example, the sense of smell seems to be more or less improved. But that's all we got so far. They are blind as an old lady, but they're ugly as shit. Their biggest jump in their evolution seems to be their ability to reproduce. I hate when things don't go accordingly to plan, but since there is still a demand for lickers on the BOW market, I guess things ain't all that bad. And that's in chapter 5.1, Progenitor Research Virus Facility on the small laboratory room after you exit in the underground garden. Again, there is a ton of files. In that one, it's ridiculous. It's like loads of files. An email to an acquaintance. Hey, I know this is sudden, but I'm going to be getting some time off soon. We've completed most of our work on the new project, Sorry, you know I can't talk about that work. So they are giving us some time off as a reward for our hard work. All the staff are leaving tomorrow, so we can finally be getting out of this country. I'm heading straight back to Arizona, and I can't wait to get home and see everyone. More than that, I think I'll be just happy to be getting away from the high and mighty McGill guy thinks he's some sort of super genius. McGill is a guy that sits next to me at work, and he's a good researcher and all, don't get me wrong. He's got some good ideas and is good at noticing details, but every time he opens his mouth, he just goes on and on about how great he is. Bit of a narcissist, in other words. You can't even begin to imagine what torture it is to be hearing that day in and day out. I wish we made a sedative that we could give him. But forget all that. What matters is that I should be back home within the next few days. When I get back, I'll give you a call. We got to go out and get smashed. I could use a break. See you soon, Ryan. That's in chapter 5.1. In the facility, in the small... yeah, it's basically like everything's in this room. It's ridiculous. Research Center, Director Brandon's journal. We're reading all the journals now. 1998. Okay, back to 98 again. November 16th, we closed down the research centre. It is strange that I don't really care. It is indifferent to the whole thing. I'm indifferent to the whole thing. I feel the same way when I heard that Arklay facility and Raccoon City were destroyed. When did I come so apathetic? I spent every waking moment researching and extracting the progenitor virus. Everything I did was for Dr. Marcus. Actually, when I think about it, I probably stopped caring the day I heard he died all them years ago. But I didn't feel angry or happy or even shocked. I felt nothing at all. It was as all my emotions was shut down. I just kept sending out samples of the progenitor virus to all the Umbrella laboratories. It's just an automation machine reporting to Umbrella's headquarters every time one of my subordinates made a breakthrough or discovered something new. I was like a zombie ambling through life, no thoughts, no feelings. And now the research centre where I spent half my life is closed. I don't really care one way or another. It's probably for the best, perhaps too late to have any semblance of life again. God, that's sad. And that's in the progenitor virus facility, again, in chapter 5.1. Like I said, it's got loads of stuff there. From Chief Researcher Brandon's Journal 2. Okay. God, this is so long. 1968 again, April 15th. It's been over a year since we had any breakthroughs. That's why Dr. Marcus and I has decided to return to Africa. We can no longer continue our research without the progenitor virus. I know those routine attacks by the Napata are really going to rack my nerves, but for the sake of our research, I will persevere. In the face of my foreseen dismay, it was Mr. Spencer who provided the answer. If you're worried about the Napada, then we just have to remove them from the equation. I can only imagine the look of shock on our faces. The idea has never occurred to us. It's been quite a atypical solution to our problems, but it seemed that it was the only option available. Dr. Marcus and I decided to try Mr. Spencer's plan. And they waited until August 19th. Finally, some good news. We learnt that we was able to chase the Napada out of their land. The land we we acquired only amounts to half those underground ruins, but it is includes the areas of the progenitor flower grows. There should be no issues. Mr. Spencer said the plans to construct research facilities at the site, which will expedite our research into the virus. We hastily made our preparations to depart for Africa, but Mr. Spencer's request that Dr. Marcus stays in Raccoon City to take over the training centre. We were initially taken aback by the request, but we soon realised it was the logical course of action. Dr. Marcus needs a calm environment to properly conduct his research. If he was here in Africa, there will be no proper facility for him to use at this time. I just hope the African research facilities will get built soon. That's the thing, is like, that's why he went back there, because he wanted an environment to study on his own work with the leeches. So now I will go alone to Africa and send him back samples of the progenitor virus to Dr. Marcus. Both Dr. Marcus and Mr. Spencer agreed that this is the best course of action. I have to start making preparations to go. I have a feeling I'll be pretty busy starting tomorrow. September 29th. I've been in Africa for 2 weeks now. It's a good thing Dr. Marcus isn't here. This place is far from being a paradise of research and scientific study. The so-called research facilities are nothing more than a bunch of tents. We have to employ armed soldiers to keep the Nipida at bay. But the thing that gets on my nerves is almost the sound of the construction of the real research facilities. How am I supposed to concentrate on the research when everything is threatening to drive me insane? I'm just going to have to concentrate on extracting the virus samples of the progenitor flower so I can send them to Dr. Marcus. Hopefully, if I focus on my work, I can remain sane in this god-forsaken place. 1969. The research facilities are finally completed. This is a real Umbrella Africa Research Centre, not just some pile of tents. But I've come to the realisation that in the past 9 months, the facilities were too small for our needs. We need to make them larger, more suitable for our research. Then we can fill them with more talented researchers. This place needs to be our front line in our progenitor virus research. Our results will do a great service to Dr. Marcus and his viral research. In a rare turn of events, that old skin Flint Spencer actually agreed for me to do this. That is why there's tents. Where the progenitor flowers are, there's tents around. They was the old research tents. And like when you go through the door into the main lab areas, that they were the new ones at the time that was built. So that's interesting. That is actually really interesting. I forgot where I was. That was that one there. Yeah, okay. Telegram from Dr. James Marcus. T-virus development was a success. 13th of January 1978. James Marcus. So T-virus was made in the 70s. God. And that is in the yeah, again that was in the thing. Like there's a lot of files in this one. Test subject data. Test subject: Caucasian female, eye color blue. Subject has been in a medically induced stasis for an extended period. All vital signs, including heart rate, respiration, blood pressure, and temperature, are within normal values. A pigmentation anomaly has been observed. Effect of anomaly is limited to carnal hair follicles. In addition, light skin whitening has been observed. That is talking about Jill Valentine. She was presumed dead in this game, but it was like a fake out. She actually survived. So yeah, that is also interesting. Chapter 5.2 Experiment Chamber. regarding the mutant organism found in the facilities. May 6th, a fire broke out during the test for loading Ouroboros virus into the missiles. This requires a temporary level 4 BL4 quarantine for the immediate area. May 11th. It has been 5 days since the area was put under quarantine. There has been reports of an animal undergoing a strange and rapid mutation. Eyewitness accounts indicate the creature possesses a very hard epidermis. No viral cyst, related to Ouroboros has been reported, however. I speculate that we are all dealing with something that has been influenced by the Ouroboros virus. A rare occurrence, to be sure. Perhaps tomorrow I will put together an investigation team to procure a sample specimen. May 12th. I sent a lightly armed team to investigate the sightings of this strange creature. Unfortunately, another team had to be deployed to retrieve the corpses of the first team. Why did you send a lightly armed team in there? Which has also been dismembered by something very sharp. There are also multiple stab wounds that would appear to be made by a giant spear. That was a licker. Trace amounts of a particular chemical substance were detected on the eyes of some of the corpses. What kind of mutant organism are we dealing with is still unknown at this time. According to the initial investigation, we could be dealing with some new type of BOW based on the creature's style of attack. We have codenamed it the Reaper for the time being. Oh, this is the Reaper. Oh, that's a one-hit kill. They can kill you in one hit. Of course, more data on this creature is still required before a thorough analysis can be submitted. That's in 5.2 in the missiles area, first floor. Yeah, that's oh dear. Directions for use of the Ouroboros virus. Attention! This instruction manual contains important information concerning the proper handling and use of the Ouroboros virus. Handling the virus for anything outside the uses listed in this manual may result in the expiration of the handler. Using the virus for anything outside the uses listed in this manual may result in the expiration of those within the handler's vicinity. Administration of the virus to a test subject usually results in the dissolution, so carefully select your test subjects. When using the virus, please follow the instructions in this manual carefully. Virus dosage is potential to the subject's weight. Please use the following chart. And it's basically depending on how much they weigh, how many bottles you give. After injection of the virus, test subjects may experience some or all of the following symptoms: sweating, laboured breathing, delirium, and or confusion. After being administered, the virus will recognise and adapt to the subject's DNA. During that time, the virus will enter a state of dormancy. When it is unsuccessful in adapting to the subject's DNA, it would begin to assimilate organic matter from its immediate environment in order to fuel its growth. The immediate area around an unsuccessful adaptation is extremely volatile. Researchers should be advised to evacuate the vicinity of the test subject's corpse or incinerate it to prevent its spread. The virus will transform the cells inside the test subject's body into a black leech-like pustules, then expel them through the skin surface, consuming the subject completely. The creature displays only primitive intelligence, and it will it will only search for and prey upon organic matter to fuel its growth. Individually, these pustules are not a threat, but as a collective they become very dangerous to other living organisms and try to feed on them. Please take extreme caution when handling the virus. If the virus does adapt to the test subject's DNA, you are required to report it to the proper section immediately. In case of rejection of the subject's DNA, or those there are complications in disposing of the corpse, please contact the selection listed on the attached paper. You will be instructed on how to deal with your situation. And that's chapter 5.3, Ouroboros Research Facility. There we are. Report of implementation of preventing information leaks. Wait a minute, is this... Yeah, I just want to know if I actually read these correctly. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Jesus. The following report details of the execution of your orders. 8:53 AM, all your research personnel boarded a bus. 8:57 AM, left research facility and headed towards the airport. 9:22 AM, sleep gas was released and targets for elimination fell into a coma. 9:25, bus stopped and the targets were brought outside the bus to be eliminated. 9:44, elimination of targets finished. 11:03, target bodies were collected and brought back to the research facility. 11:35, bodies disposed of in the underground furnace along with personal effects. 1:10 PM, completed immobilizing all the bodies and personal effects. All orders successfully carried out. End of report. Bloody hell. That was in 5.3, missile area, second floor, on the small table next to the sofa in the control room, before the exit of the map. That was already done. Yep, already done that one. Yep. Tricell researcher Miguel's journal number 2. Back to the journals now. May 8th. Our current aim is to develop a virus that surpasses the potential of both G virus and T. Ronica virus. We need to eliminate any extreme mutations, mental permanency, and instability in the virus. We were told not to be concerned with the retention of the rejection rates, but even still, overcoming these three problems is going to be a challenge. Of course, all that is really only a problem for regular researchers. I'm already on the cusp of overcoming 2 of the problems. The third is proven to be a bit trickier, so I may have to resort to some alternate methods. Sometimes I frighten myself with my own integrity. Tricell is fortunate to have someone of my intelligence on their payroll. And that was in chapter 6.1, Ship Hold. Yeah. Report on W, August 28th, 1998. It's been confirmed that the incident at Raccoon City Arklay Mountains Research Facility was due to the involvement of Project W test subject number 13, thereafter referred to as Albert. His death in the accident has made obtaining any further information as an impossibility. Albert's death was confirmed by the information department. Albert's death puts the current success rate of Project W down 18%. The quota of qualified individuals for the project has been drastically reduced and must be addressed immediately. This poses a grave situation for any progress that can hope to be made in the project. Since there is no roster for qualified individuals to replace the recent losses, it would be advisable to start selecting individuals from the pool of failed candidates. After this, adjustments can be made that will restore up to 93% of the quota prior to Albert's death. Umbrella Information Department, Alex W. So that's Alex Wesker from Revelations 2, and it's talking about Albert Wesker's death in Raccoon City, the first Resident Evil game, which obviously we know he didn't die, he faked it, but yeah, it's talking about that. Chapter 62, Ship's Interior. Spencer's Notebook. God, another one. I've just received word that Raccoon City has been wiped out. The Americans finally took action against us. I hope the irony of using the very military machine that was supposed to protect them from foreign attackers to kill their own people is not lost on them. While the danger posed by the threat of the T-virus is spreading was very real, I don't think Americans will easily forgive their government for the deaths of over 100,000 of their own people. If the truth of this matter is ever brought to light, support of the current administration will plummet. I don't think he wants that. Even a child could say that they would come after Umbrella with everything they have, to hide their own foolish mistakes. They will blame Umbrella for Raccoon City's annihilation. Well, Umbrella was brought to justice in the early 2000s. It would seem that Umbrella will share Raccoon City's fate, but perhaps it will be to a lesser degree. Umbrella was nothing but a tool for the research of the progenitor virus. Even without that tool, the research still survives. That is true. I mean, there's still viruses without Umbrella, so yeah. Only Umbrella's lower employees will be hurt by its dissolution. If the secret research involving the progenitor virus is protected, then I can always rebuild anew. I've already made preparations for such a plan. The research facility in Africa remains a secret, and then Chris finds out about it. Remains a secret, and it is there that the progenitor virus is produced. Something like that we didn't achieve until the late 80s. Only a handful of people in the company are even aware of the African's facility existence. Thanks to our strict regulation of the flow of information, only a minimum amount of personnel were ever transferred from Africa to other locations, and they were always closely monitored. So it started off in Africa. In other words, it all started in Africa. Dr. Bailey has been confined to the African facility for almost 30 years, and he has even been there for, and even that has all been on for this day. All that remains is to close the facility, and everything will go according to my plan. Once the facility is gone, all its connections to Umbrella will disappear with it. Then I'll have to deal with everyone who has a level 10 security clearance, as they are the only ones who know about the African research facility's existence. Everyone else will be summarily disposed of. Just kill all the others, you know. My secrets will be protected. When one buries a treasure, one should not leave it on behind a map. A printout is stuck inside a notebook. Personnel with access to company secrets. Level 10. Oswald Spencer, deceased. Herring P, imprisoned. McCuskey, deceased. Kenny J, whereabouts unknown. Is she alive? We don't know. Carlos M, found. Information obtained. Eliminated. They shot him. Level 9. Brandon B, deceased. Frankie E, deceased. Isabella C, deceased. Greg A, deceased. Lee D, deceased. Michael K, deceased. Ethan W, deceased. That's the thing, is like people are speculating, is that Ethan Winters? But no, it's not. He's not a researcher. He's just a normal person back in them days. Chapter 6.2, ship's interior inside the control room. That was that one, wasn't it? Yeah. Satellite laser, Shango operating manual. The Shango laser, satellite laser, is operated by using the rocket launcher style laser targeting device (LTD) that sends the targeting coordinates to the satellite. The satellite is then capable of firing a high concentrated laser to within centimeters of our target. Operation procedures: aim the LTD at the target to relay the coordinates to the satellite. Once the target has been the coordinates will be relayed. During the transmission, the target ring will appear red on the targeting scope. Note: if the targeting sensor's AI perceives that the target is no longer being tracked by the targeting scope, transmission of the coordinates will be cancelled. When lock-on appears on the scope, it means that the transmission has been successfully sent. Pulling the trigger will now activate the laser. The firing cannon must be given time to be charged before it can be refired. That's like the like that thing you use in Chris's campaign on Resident Evil Village. Similar. That doesn't use a laser though. Chapter 6.2, bridge on the whiteboard. An Ouroboros plan. The Ouroboros virus will have a direct and substantial impact on human DNA. Those who possess inferior genes will find exposure to the virus fatal. Most of those infected will be unable to withstand this winnowing. The handful of survivors will be limited to those who possess superior DNA. There is no room for this new world where those who do not qualify. A new day will be dawned for only the chosen few. Tonight Ouroboros and I shall awaken the best in this world. Everything on schedule is on schedule. When the bomber reaches the tropopause, what the fuck does that mean? Atmosphere, I think it is. The missiles carrying Ouroboros virus will be deployed. Once released, the virus will enter the upper troposphere and spread using the wind currents. Then it is then that humanity will receive its final judgment. A virus possesses no emotions, and therein lies in its beauty. It will select the only choice humans from around the world. The ones who are not chosen will become the host for Ouroboros, and their existence will consist only of searching for new hosts. Once set into motion, nothing can stop this chain reaction. The din of 6 billion screams will close the book on humanity's ignoble past. And that was chapter 6.3, bridge on the terminal on the west half of the room. And it's over 8 billion people now, obviously, because there's like loads more people around. That is it. That is it. So I'm not reading the extra ones, but yeah, that is it. So another hour-long video, Jesus. I knew this one was going to take long. Unfortunately, I thought that would include all of the DLC files, but the DLC files are not on this list yet. I might look another time to see if I can find them, but it's not on there yet. But yeah, that has been the Resident Evil 5 storyline files. Next one will be next Tuesday, and that will be Revelations 2, which is going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.